At the White Dragon Awards, a man accepts the Best Supporting Actor award. Clutching his trophy, he thinks about being ugly every day and finds the applause unwelcome. In the theater, the audience applauds him warmly. His thoughts are interrupted by the blinding headlights of an oncoming car. Splat. A violent impact is shown through a splash of blood. Mortally wounded, he bleeds from his head, questioning if he was born to be loved. Horrified onlookers react to the accident on the street. In a memory, he recalls his sincerity while doing volunteer work. He remembers donating 30 million won as actor Lee Hanjo, noting he didn't earn much. Lee Hanjo laments the limits of a supporting actor and wishes for an angel's guidance. A system window appears, offering 3 wishes and rushing him to decide. Lee Hanjo crosses his arms, cynically assuming there must be a price. He points forward, cheekily demanding a quintillion wishes instead of just 3. A mention of causality makes him feel like he's navigating a landmine. He holds up 2 fingers, confidently making a second wish for good health. Blushing, he shyly makes his 3rd wish, to be conventionally handsome. He dreams of fame and fortune, which he would use for generous donations. A bright light envelops him as he stares forward. He clutches his chest as a wave of power hits him. His body feels frozen, stiff as he wakes up to the sound of a baby crying. He sees a crying baby and realizes that's the sound he's hearing. Wah! Seeing tiny hands and feet, he realizes in horror that he has become the baby. He reasons that since he died, it's possible he could be reborn. Left in a cardboard box, he panics about freezing to death right after being born. Wah! The baby cries, knowing it's the only thing he can do to survive. Through blurry vision, he hears a voice call out about finding a baby. A nun gently picks him up, expressing her shock, and he silently thanks her. As the nun comforts him, he notes that his baby voice sounds surprisingly cute. The kind nun smiles warmly, offering him a bottle. She begins to feed him as he wonders if he's drinking formula. He realizes he's an orphan and worries his adult intelligence will regress. The baby suddenly pushes the bottle away, startling the nun. With large, expressive eyes, the reborn baby looks up. The nun cuddles him, gushing about how exceptionally pretty he is. He suddenly recalls his wish to be handsome, connecting it to the strange message he received. A system window appears, confirming his wish will be granted, leaving him stunned. Lying in his crib, he realizes he's perfectly fine, which is unusual for a newborn left in the cold. The nuns comment on how exceptionally healthy their little baby is. He understands that his second wish for good health has also been granted. Now sitting up, he's left to wonder about his mysterious first wish. The nun asks if he ate well, and he responds with a grumpy look and a silent thank you. His expression suddenly shifts to a bright, angelic smile, surprising the nun. As the nun joyfully hugs him, a mysterious text appears before his eyes once more. A holographic system window materializes in front of him, leaving him speechless. The window notifies him that 9 love and peace coins have been generated. He freaks out, completely baffled by the concept of using these strange coins. He then remembers his audacious first wish for a quintillion wishes. Contemplating the prompt to use his coins, he decides it's plausible and worth a try. He babbles and points, internally demanding to use the love and peace coins. His tiny fists clench in frustration as he wonders what the coins are actually for. A nun holding a baby boy complains about her back. The baby stares in shock, wondering if his squirming hurt her. The nun reassures him it's just old age, and he internally acknowledges her kindness. He believes such a kind person deserves to be blessed. As she hugs him, a blue system window asks how he will use his love and peace coins. The baby recalls his first wish to have a quintillion wishes, realizing his power. He wonders if everything he says comes true. The baby cries wah, and silently wishes to completely heal the sister's back. He calls out, Baba, and mentally commands the wish to proceed. As the baby babbles, the confused nun asks if something is wrong. Everything has a price. The baby stares in wide-eyed, tearful horror. An X-ray reveals a throbbing, painful inflammation in his spine. An aura of pain erupts from the baby, who thinks he's made a crazy mistake. He realizes the price for her healing is his own agonizing back pain. As the nun pats his back, he internally tells her to pat lower. She asks about his discomfort, and he thinks the pain only lasts 10 minutes. He smiles through the pain, relieved that the kind sister will no longer suffer. The scene shifts to a large, snow-covered church. The baby looks around his new crib with a curious expression. His eyes sparkle as he realizes he earns coins when people find him cute. He recalls that spending coins grants wishes, but always comes with a side effect. Pondering in his crib, he decides the wish was effective, despite the brief pain. He marvels that his wish instantly cured a herniated disc. He looks off to the side, contemplating the power of adjusted causality. He has a horrifying thought. Did his wish for a long life make him an orphan? He flops down, consoling himself that at least he is handsome and healthy. He happily resolves to be a star, wishing to only be ugly for one day. Seeing him kicking, the nun asks if he wants to wake up. She picks him up, and he's surprised she understood his movements. The nun reveals his name is Gongja, showing him a dog tag. The name Gongja is engraved on the tag, and the baby processes this. His mind explodes as he realizes the implication of his name. He's horrified to be named after a phrase from Confucius. The nun says she will give him a new surname, much to his annoyance. He realizes she is talking about having him adopted. He considers his options, deciding the quality of parents is most important. Thinking of bad adoptive parents, he concludes, staying here is better. He happily grabs the sister's finger, reaffirming her goodness. He vows to use his coins for her, babbling adorably in her arms. A system notification confirms he's gained a coin, bringing his total to 71. The nun calls him cute, and Gongja resolves to help her. He uses his love peace coins, pointing his finger with determination. He makes his wish for the sister to be healthy. He's shocked that healing her back costs 100 coins, complaining about inflation. He decides he must be overwhelmingly cute to earn more coins. He makes a series of cute faces, earning coins one by one. Gongja panics, realizing there's a limit to coins earned from one person. He strains with effort, determined to find more spectators. A young boy with dark hair announces the arrival of guests, as Gongja internally celebrates his jackpot. A nun holding a different, blonde baby smiles, anticipating the arrival of love peace. The nun tells the dark-haired boy Noah to get his eczema medicine, but he explains that Sister Maria has it. Another nun confirms she's taken care of Noah, and announces that Ms. Ma Sujong has arrived. A man in a black suit watches a woman in a red dress walk away, thinking he knew this would happen. The woman, Ma Sujong, whirls around angrily, refusing his request and stating her hatred for this kind of thing. Identified as Chaebol Ma Sujong, she furiously declares that she can't stand kids. She enters the room with a click of her heels, startling the nun who is now holding Gongja. Ma Sujong stands with a stern expression and an intimidating presence. The third chapter of the story comes to a close. The narration recalls Ma Sujong as a famous, beautiful actress whose acting was notoriously terrible. A memory shows her funeral portrait, reminding the narrator that she died in a car accident 5 years ago. Back in the present, Gongja looks at a calendar, confused about the current year. He stares in shock at the date, January 1st, 2024. With dawning horror, he realizes he's traveled a full 20 years into the past before his death. He had assumed it was simple reincarnation, never expecting to see Ma Sujong alive again. The man in the suit asks Ma Sujong to hold the baby for a promotional shot. She internally despairs that even her own child dislikes her. Gongja deduces that she's here for a promotional photo shoot for the Sungjin Group, the convent sponsor. Feeling rejected before he could even try, he resolves to take matters into his own hands. Babbling determinedly, he decides to use his power by activating the Ma Sujong coin. The system asks how he'll use his coin, and he wishes to take a photo with Ma Sujong. The wish's price is revealed. A red spot will burn on the sole of his foot for 1 minute. A burning spot instantly appears on his tiny foot. Wah, he lets out a pained cry, startling the two nuns who wonder what's wrong. While the nun panics, he internally screams about his foot being on fire, frustrated that his short arms can't reach it. His sudden wail captures the full attention of Ma Sujong and her staff. The onlookers are instantly smitten, praising how cute he is. Ding! He receives system notifications as his cuteness earns him 10 coins from the manager and more from the assistant manager. Gongja silently thanks everyone for their enthusiastic support. 2 staff members are captivated by his looks and ask the nun for his name. The nun tearfully recounts his tragic story, explaining he was abandoned at the convent and named Gongja. He realizes that to maximize the tragedy, he must now show a bright and cheerful side. He babbles and waves happily at the staff, putting on a brave face. The staff members are moved to tears by his sad yet adorable display, and system notifications confirm he has earned 50 coins from each of them. Ma Sujong, her interest piqued, turns to the nun and asks if the baby's name is Gongja. She is captivated, marveling at the power of his looks. Fearing the baby will cry if he sees her, Ma Sujong hesitates, but the nun reassures her that Gongja is gentle. Gongja grabs her dress, thinking to himself that he won't cry because this is all for the convent. He coos, showing off his cute face and mentally demanding she give him the coins. The nun happily tells a flustered Ma Sujong that it seems Gongja likes her. Ma Sujong is stunned, saying all babies hate her and recalling how her own daughter, Mari, would cry whenever she held her. The nun points out Gongja's smile and encourages her to hold him, while he internally cheers for the sister's perfect setup. Awkwardly, Ma Sujong takes the baby into her arms. Gongja touches her face and coos, silently promising not to cry. She looks down at him, her expression softening as a blush spreads across her cheeks. Completely charmed, she wonders aloud how such a cute baby can exist, and confirms his name, as he looks on with a weary expression. She snuggles him close, declaring his name is pretty too, much to his disbelief. He babbles quietly as she wonders if this feeling is what people call baby therapy. Gongja looks up at her with pleading eyes, mentally reminding her that she's forgetting the coins. Ma Sujong thoughtfully wonders why Gongja isn't crying, remembering that even her own newborn cried upon seeing her. As she holds him, Ma Sujong dismisses any past rejection as just a phase. She kisses his cheek, feeling a past life connection, as he internally scoffs at her dramatics. In a heavenly glow, she embraces Gongja in a moment of pure maternal affection. A photographer apologizes for snapping photos, admitting the subjects were just too good. Seeing her cry, Gongja reaches for her face, silently willing her to stop. She holds him close, moved, asking if he is trying to comfort her. She gives him a gentle kiss, and he looks on with wide, surprised eyes. Gongja fumes internally, annoyed that the photographer's interruption ruined a prime coin-earning moment. The photographer spots the red mark on his foot, and both the nun and Ma Sujong gasp in surprise, neither having seen it before. Ma Sujong begins to cry again, wondering why he has a spot in the same place as someone named Maru. Gongja is momentarily confused, thinking she must have meant her daughter Mari. Holding him tightly, she tearfully remembers that Maru was also once this small. Her voice breaks as she explains that Maru passed away early, for unknown reasons. With renewed determination in her tear-filled eyes, she tells the nun that she wants to raise him. Gongja's world shatters as he internally screams in protest at the sudden declaration. Ma Sujong eagerly asks to take him home, while a frantic Gongja mentally refuses with all his might. Looking down at him with a serious expression, she softly asks if he means her. Her face breaks into a radiant smile as she asks if she can be his mother. Sometime later, a nun watches Gongja drink his bottle, wondering if Ma Sujong will actually return in a week. Ma Sujong, holding a sleeping Gongja, assures the sister she will have her lawyer handle the adoption details. She explains her lonely life as a divorcee living in an annex, separated from her daughter, Mari. She promises the nun that her wealth means she can provide Gongja with the very best of everything. While drinking his milk, Gongja dismisses her grand promises, reminding himself that his true mission is to earn 1,000 coins to heal the kind sister. As Ma Sujong leaves, promising to return, the nun watches skeptically, assuming it's just the whim of a rich girl. A week later, just as she promised, Ma Sujong returns to the snowy convent, defying the nun's expectations. Standing in the cold, she apologizes softly, her face hidden by her scarf. The surprised nun greets her, and Ma Sujong immediately asks for hand sanitizer. Entering the nursery, she walks toward Gongja's glowing crib, as the nun wonders why she arrived so late. Her eyes fill with tears as she gazes down at him and whispers his name. She admits to herself that ever since their first meeting, she hasn't been able to stop thinking about him. Gongja, half asleep, reflects on the sister's integrity, realizing she wouldn't send him away without careful thought, even to a sponsor. The nun admits to Ma Sujong that even she is struck by Gongja's beauty, causing him to panic internally. Ma Sujong joyfully scoops him up, shocking the nun, as Gongja thinks that he's the one being held captive. The nun questions if she consulted her family, but Ma Sujong calmly reiterates that she lives alone. Gazing at him, she muses that, like Mari, he'll probably get into trouble when he's older. She pulls him into a warm, gentle embrace amidst a backdrop of white roses. He tugs playfully at her hair, bringing a soft smile to her face. A system message declares he was born to be loved, as Ma Sujong vows to be his mother and raise him well. Ding! His coin count suddenly skyrockets by 1,000, and he realizes in shock they came from Ma Sujong. She thanks him, but he smiles, thinking he is the more grateful one, as this allows him to repay the sister. Holding a happy Gongja, Ma Sujong confesses to the nun that she had been standing outside for a while. She holds the giggling baby, her expression full of love and adoration. The nun smiles warmly, telling Gongja how glad she is that he has found a good parent. Ma Sujong gratefully thanks the sister for everything, while holding Gongja close. When asked if she'll keep his name, Ma Sujong considers it, pairing Gongja with her family name, Ma. The horrifying combination Ma Gongja dawns on him, and his face fills with sheer terror. He thrashes in protest, desperately trying to communicate his refusal of the terrible new name. They completely misread his tantrum as excitement, both commenting on how cute he is. The scene shifts to the church exterior, as an unseen person's thought declares, "I don't want to." Noah stands over a sleeping Gongja, angrily questioning why they are being separated if Gongja is his little brother. A woman's hand comforts Noah as he begs her not to take Gongja away, insisting he's his brother, but she gently tells him Gongja has found a good mother. Crying, Noah despairs that he will never see him again, while Gongja recalls the moment this same boy found him and saved his life. Resolved to help, Gongja decides to use his power, babbling a wish for Noah to be healthy for his entire life. The system reveals that Noah's lifelong health will cost 30 coins, and Gongja determinedly agrees to proceed. As a woman holds a baby, Noah reaches out sadly, and she asks if he is upset about their parting. Noah tearfully tells Gongja they will always be brothers, while Gongja internally notes that at least Noah's health has improved. He silently vows never to forget Noah, promising to become a top star one day so he can find him again. Remembering the kind sister, he hopes she stays healthy for a long, long time, thinking of how many more children she could help. A system notification reveals a side effect of his wish. For the next year, he will fall down once every 10 steps. As Ma Sujong holds him outside the convent, he babbles softly, and she asks if he is saying his goodbyes. He stares in awe at a super expensive foreign car parked nearby, completely shocked by the display of wealth. Now sitting in a luxurious car seat, he is once again stunned by the high-quality fabric and comfort. Deciding he must also contribute, he smiles and prepares to use his love and peace coin to show his filial piety. As Ma Sujong secures him in his seat, he reaches for her and babbles a wish to make his new mom healthy. He strains in shock as a red system window reveals the staggering cost for Ma Sujong's health, 30,000 coins. Ma Sujong cheerfully tells him they're going home, while he panics internally about the massive coin cost, wondering if she neglects her health. He frets over how she could be scheduled to get sick, tearfully declaring that he can't live without his mom now. Looking at their grand new home, he steels his resolve, knowing he needs a whopping 30,000 coins to save her. The matriarch of the Sungjin group and Ma Sujong's mother, Manhwa, is introduced with a confident smile. Gazing down at Gongja in his cute bear costume, Manhwa coldly refers to him as that thing. Crackle! An electric tension fills the air as Ma Sujong and her mother face off. Manhwa sternly tells her daughter to get a hold of herself, reminding her that this baby is not Maru. Ma Sujong calmly holds Gongja closer, replying that she knows his name is Gongja. Smiling warmly, she holds Gongja up for her mother to see, telling her to look closely at him. She proudly presents the baby in his bear outfit, asking her mother if he isn't the cutest thing. With a severe expression, Manhwa dismisses him and orders Ma Sujong to take him away, threatening to throw him out herself. Ma Sujong glares back defiantly, holding a startled Gongja tightly in her arms. A new idea forms in Gongja's mind as he considers another approach. PBBT. In a burst of confidence, Gongja strikes a sassy pose, sticking his tongue out at his new grandmother. Manhwa remains utterly unimpressed, and Gongja is stunned that his charm offensive didn't work. With a pensive look, Gongja cheekily concludes that his grandmother is actually kind of funny. Manhwa reminds her daughter she was never to take in a black-haired beast, but Ma Sujong notices her mother's hand is shaking. Ma Sujong counters with a smile, pointing out that Gongja's hair is brown, and he babbles in triumphant agreement. She triumphantly thinks that this detail means they can raise him however they want. While sleeping, Gongja's flooded with coin notifications from staff members who saw his promotional photo, and he mentally begs for it to stop. Feeling dizzy, he realizes the internal promo photos were circulated among household staff he's never even met. Deciding the key is more exposure, he uses his coins to post the photo on a popular website. He prepares to launch his plan, gathering power in a pose he calls the Spirit Bomb. With a determined wiggle of his bottom, he babbles his confirmation to proceed. He looks on in horror as a system message reveals an unexpected side effect. For 1 month, his mom's personality will become bold and brazen. The scene transitions to a bright and cheerful playroom filled with toys. A woman tells Ma Soo-jong it isn't the first time she's been criticized, and Ma Soo-jong sighs that she gets judged for simply breathing. She leaps to her feet, passionately declaring that Gongja is different, and she won't allow him to be dragged down with her. The uneasy woman asks what she plans to do, to which Ma Soo-jong gives a confident reply. With a sly smile, she declares that she'll fight back, and Gongja internally cheers her on. Gongja uses his power, babbling a command to arrange for paparazzi to take photos of him with his mom. The system states that the paparazzi shots will cost 200 coins, and he eagerly executes the command. A new side effect appears. For 3 minutes, he will throw anything he touches, which he dismisses as an easy problem to avoid. A hand offers him a yellow toy duck, and he reaches for it with a focused expression. Whoops, he immediately throws the duck across the room, much to Ma Soo-jong's surprise. Gongja looks on with a stunned expression, his pacifier falling from his mouth. Confused, Ma Soo-jong asks if he doesn't like the toy. Sometime later, a stylish Ma Soo-jong takes Gongja on a shopping spree, telling him to pick out whatever he wants. He watches her confidently walk ahead, realizing she's serious about her plan to strike back. From a car, a hidden photographer readies his camera, getting the signal that they are all set. Peeking out from behind his mom, Gongja adorably calls out Mama, internally celebrating the successful deployment of his ultimate word. Stunned, Ma Soo-jong lowers her sunglasses and asks what he just said. Held in her arms, he happily repeats, Mama, proud of the effort he put into practicing his speech. Click as the camera flashes, Ma Soo-jong kisses his cheek, achieving 2 goals with 1 perfect shot. A man at a desk looks at the photo on his computer, asking if that is the adopted son. Ma Soo-jong confirms it's Gongja, explaining it's better to control the narrative officially than be exposed by tabloids. The man, CEO of Ma Soo-jong's agency, understands her logic, but worries she'll be accused of exploiting her son. In his office, Ma Soo-jong surprises the CEO by announcing her plan to donate the money. She specifies that the donation will be made under Gongja's name to his former convent. The CEO is shocked, realizing this was her motivation for taking on so many jobs. The scene shifts to a magazine photo shoot, where the photographer is stunned by Ma Soo-jong's overwhelming and unnatural beauty in person. The photographer worries about working with a baby, fearing he might start crying mid-shoot. He imagines the chaos of a fussy baby, thinking even Ma Soo-jong's patience would wear thin. Ugh, I hate this job, the stressed-out photographer mutters to himself. Ma Soo-jong's demeanor changes as she lovingly greets Gongja, calling him her little angel. The entire crew is electrified, shocked by the radiant love shining from both mother and son. A fire ignites in the photographer. He realizes this is a once-in-a-lifetime shot he must capture. An ominous figure in a white hood appears, its face shattering like glass. Ma Soo-jong shields Gongja's eyes from the harsh studio lights, but he internally complains they're intense enough to be lethal. As the reincarnated actor Lee Han-jo, he smiles with determination, resolving not to back down. He immediately begins striking a series of professional, adorable poses for the camera. The photographer goes into a frenzy, capturing every perfect moment from every possible angle. Ma Soo-jong asks how the photos turned out, and the mesmerized photographer declares he could keep shooting forever. Later, reviewing the photos, he shakes his head in disbelief, admitting he has no idea what he just shot. In a surreal space, he remains confused as Ma Soo-jong's voice explains he'll understand when he sees the results. Back in the studio, she and Gongja look at the photos, and she gasps in shock, wondering if it's really her. Gongja knows that true beauty requires a wide range of expressions to truly shine. The photographer admits his concerns were unfounded, as the baby's vibrant smile and expressions came through perfectly. He marvels at how Gongja's flawless features and liveliness create a perfect image, noting most children lack such expressive variety. While most child models can only manage a few expressions, he explains that this baby already has dozens. With complete conviction, the photographer declares he'd bet his career on it. Gongja is a genius. Ma Soo-jong holds Gongja close, trusting the expert's rare praise. The photographer adjusts his glasses, stating with certainty that the world will agree once the magazine is released. A stunning final portrait of Gongja is framed by beautiful pink roses. News spreads like wildfire that Ma Soo-jong donated all the magazine profits, cementing her image as a philanthropic goddess. Her manager, Lee Mi-jin, arrives in a van, urging her to seize the moment and ride the wave of popularity. Emi Jin frantically drags an exhausted Ma Soo-jung, shouting that their schedule is packed and they have to move. Crying, Ma Soo-jung laments being too busy to see Gangja, showing her phone with his picture on it. A photo of Gangja in a bonnet appears, asking if he has a message for his mother. Overwhelmed with emotion, Ma Soo-jung begs Emi Jin to take her to Gangja, wailing that she can't bear to miss him growing up. Throwing a tantrum on the floor, she cries that no one could resist going to him after seeing his cute face. She makes a break for it, running down the street screaming Gongja's name as Emi Jin chases her. Emi Jin desperately clings to her leg as Ma Soo-jung insists Gongja is calling for her. A man named Director Hyo stops her, and she tearfully begs him to let her go home, but he calmly refuses. He looks away nervously, admitting that they're having a bit of trouble with the current shoot. Director Hyo frets over their child actor problem. His colleague explains their dilemma. The baby for their zombie movie can't stop crying. Approaching Ma Soo-jung, Director Hyo notes she's the talk of the town. She's stunned when he suggests Gangja for the role. As Gangja drinks his bottle, he overhears his mom and nanny discussing the offer. He gasps in shock as he hears that Director Hyo wants him for the movie. Gangja recognizes the director's name, Heo Bong-pal, realizing the significance of this project. He recalls the film was a massive success, a movie he loved in his past life. The nanny explains to Ma Soo-jung that the original baby actor keeps crying during a crucial scene. She continues that Director Hyo saw Gangja's magazine photos and thought he'd be perfect. Desperate for the role, Gangja waves his arms and calls for his mom. As the nanny worries about the chaotic set, Gangja internally screams his disagreement. Ma Soo-jung fears he'll get sick, but Gangja furiously shakes his head no. She considers quitting the movie for him, but he resolves to use his coins. A system window reveals the 200 coin cost, and Gangja eagerly confirms the purchase. The side effect is itchy eyes for 5 minutes, a sacrifice he's willing to make. As his eyes turn red, he stoically endures the itchiness. Ma Soo-jung and her nanny discuss Gangja's recent excitement, wondering if he has acting talent. She notes how much he loves the camera, a fact Gangja silently celebrates. Realizing he always looks directly at the lens, Gangja knows this is his key advantage. Ma Soo-jung thinks Gangja is reassuring her, but the nanny dismisses it as simple squirming. Ma Soo-jung believes his blinking is a sign he wants the role. The nanny suggests his eyes are just irritated. Convinced he wants the part, Ma Soo-jung ignores the nanny's skepticism. She laughs with joy, holding a determined-looking Gangja in her arms. He clenches his fist, ready to help his mom become a star and earn more coins. On set, a costumed Ma Soo-jung worries that her appearance will frighten Gangja. Gangja gazes at his mother, looking more curious than scared. He internally cheers, thinking his mom looks like a real warrior. Reunited with his mom, Gangja happily calls out to her, proving he isn't afraid. He snuggles against her military uniform with a radiant smile. The scene shifts to a tense moment with Director Hyo on set. The film's plot is revealed. A traumatized mother overcomes her past by saving a baby from zombies. Gangja wonders why this crucial, tear-jerking part of her character's story was cut from the original film. He recalls watching the movie in his past life, suspecting the original baby actor caused issues. Director Hyo worries about putting a baby on a high platform, but Gangja logically analyzes the scene's setup. He correctly deduces the scene involves his mom performing a daring rescue. Contemplating how to act, he decides to simply cry like a baby in danger. Ma Soo-jung silently prepares for the stunt, getting strapped into a wire harness. The scene is set in a grim, post-apocalyptic city street. In a world overrun by zombies, Gangja is the last glimmer of hope. Instead of crying, Gangja gives the camera a beautiful, angelic smile. The director and his crew are impressed, loving the stark contrast between his happy face and the grim setting. As the scene begins, Gangja marvels at his mother's complete immersion into her role. The action starts as a foot steps onto the set piece. Whoosh! Ma Soo-jung is hoisted into the air on the wires, holding the baby. Thwack! She accidentally swings into a wall, shocking the entire crew. She lands hard on the crash mat below, groaning in pain. The crew rushes to her side, panicked and asking if she's all right. Gangja calls out to his mom as she lies on the ground, assuring everyone she's fine. He realizes she shielded him from the impact and worries if she's truly okay. As his mother lies stunned, Gangja softly asks, "Mama?" A single tear rolls down Ma Soo-jung's cheek, her heart overwhelmed. Shaking it off, she quickly pushes herself up from the mat. She realizes she couldn't brace for the fall because she was too focused on protecting him. Determined to help, Gongja calls on the system to heal his mom's injury, spending 5,000 coins to execute the command. The purchase is confirmed, but with a side effect. He will cry for 10 minutes and must be cautious of dehydration. On the ground, Ma Suzhong winces, clutching her injured arm in pain. Suddenly, the pain vanishes, leaving her completely bewildered. Gongja peeks over the nanny's shoulder, internally wondering if the healing magic worked. Director Hyo and a worried M.A. Jin rush to her side, asking if she can move her arm and if she's alright. Ma Suzhong stands up smiling, telling the relieved crew she suddenly feels fine as Director Hyo advises her not to overdo it. Her relief turns to panic as she frantically looks around and asks where Gongja is. The crew parts like the sea as the nanny carries Gongja toward his mother. Held in the nanny's arms, Gongja looks on with wide, worried eyes. Tears welling in her eyes, Ma Suzhong calls out his name as she sees him. Wah! The system's side effect kicks in, and Gongja lets out a heart-wrenching wail. Ma Suzhong rushes forward, distressed that he's crying so hard and worrying that she scared him. She hugs him close, apologizing profusely for startling him as he continues to sob. Wah! He internally laments being a powerless baby, realizing his mother would have been seriously hurt if not for his coins. Later, Ma Suzhong apologizes to the nanny, Ansan's wife, admitting she's never seen Gongja cry so desperately. Ansan's wife cries, confessing how terribly worried she was that Ma Suzhong was injured. Watching her son sleep, Ma Suzhong reflects that she was never afraid of getting hurt before. The nanny agrees she's fiery, but Ma Suzhong realizes she needs to restrain herself now. She sadly concludes that her getting hurt made her baby cry, a first for them both. Looking at her sleeping son, she quietly resolves to be more careful, knowing Gongja has only her. Watching over his crib, she whispers that she genuinely thought her back was broken from the fall. She marvels at how the pain disappeared instantly, as if it were all a lie. She looks down at Gongja with a heavy, thoughtful expression. An older woman, Ma Suzhong's mother, recalls a painful memory of her own daughter, Mari, saying she'd hate her forever. She recounts how she was more worried about her screaming child getting a fever than anything else. Ma Suzhong resolves to try and contact her again, recalling a memory of a little girl with a stuffed rabbit. The scene changes as the grandmother coldly states that Gongja is no help to Suzhong and must be thrown away. Held aloft, Gongja internally scoffs, thinking she came all this way just to see his cute face. She holds him at arm's length, warning him that when the time comes, she will personally kick him out. Gongja realizes that while she's full of malice, she likes his face, and he begins plotting how to win her over. He knows a cute face gets old fast, and decides he needs a better strategy to make her want to visit. He spots a cane leaning in his room and has a brilliant idea. Using his coins, Gongja commands the system to make his body smell like lemongrass whenever his grandmother visits. A system window confirms the 200 coin purchase, specifying the scent will appear for Manhwa Jin and noting its effectiveness for muscle pain. The side effect is the loss of his sense of taste for 7 days, a price he willingly pays to win over his grandmother. Manhwa Jin holds Gongja, suddenly pausing as she catches the new scent. She leans in, sniffing his head with a curious expression. Still sniffing, she seems to be enjoying the pleasant, therapeutic aroma. Holding him close, she deeply inhales the scent from his hair as he thinks, that's right. Seizing the moment, Gongja leans in and gives his grandmother a surprise kiss on the cheek. She freezes instantly, her eyes wide with utter shock. Gongja looks up at her anxiously, wondering if his bold move backfired. Flustered, Manhwa Jin stammers while Gongja internally mocks her dramatic reaction. He smiles, exasperated by the old woman's antics, as a notification confirms he's gained 800 love and peace coins. Manhwa Jin admits a cute baby and aromatherapy are a killer combination. She tells Gongja to get away, but he internally points out she's the one holding him. She calls him a hindrance, glad Suzhong is now caring for Mari, leaving Gongja confused. Manhwa Jin worries about the premiere and questions her daughter's choice of a grotesque movie. Gongja watches her, noting his grandmother always leaves right before his mother arrives. Manhwa Jin secretly instructs the nanny not to mention her visit to Suzhong. As she walks away, Gongja internally calls her dishonest for not seeing her own daughter. Ma Suzhong bursts through the door, joyfully calling out her son's name. She lovingly cuddles Gongja, asking if he was a good boy today. Ma Suzhong happily tells the nanny that Gongja is always healthy and never gets sick. She brightly mentions the movie premiere, catching Gongja's immediate attention. Gongja realizes the premiere means cameras and a chance to be on TV. Ma Suzhong explains that the organizers were insistent that she and Gongja attend. She admits that she truly wants to be congratulated at the premiere with her son. As his mother expresses her wish to go together, Gongja notices a change in her. He feels confident that City of the Dead will be a massive hit with her complete character arc. Gongja knows that with the story fixed, the movie's success is now a sure thing. The next day, the nanny stands before a closet, wondering what outfit to choose for Gongja. She considers a frog outfit a safe choice, but Gongja internally declares it's anything but safe. The nanny suggests a gorilla outfit, horrifying Gongja, who wonders why she even owns one. In a brown suit, Gongja shakes his head in disgust, wondering what this awful outfit is. Determined, he internally commands the system to let him wear the polar bear outfit instead. Losing faith in the nanny's taste, Gongja internally shouts for the system to execute his command. Now in an adorable polar bear onesie, Gongja looks up with wide, innocent eyes. He reflects that the price of using his coins also seems to motivate his wishes. Ready for the premiere, Gongja does a final check of his total coins, 28,722. A movie poster is shown as narration explains the film was a box office success. At a press event, Gongja realizes he's close to the 30,000 coins needed to save his mom. Two men in the audience gasp in surprise while watching the movie. Ma Sujong watches the film, tears streaming down her face. Zap Gongja is shown with glowing white eyes, seemingly unleashing some power. A flashback shows Gongja arriving at the press preview 3 hours earlier. Director Heo and Ma Sujong gush over Gongja in his polar bear outfit, calling him a celebrity. Holding her son close, Ma Sujong recalls how bleak the movie set was. Director Heo tells Ma Sujong that Gongja is always mentioned in calls about the movie. The director adds that, while unimportant, Gongja's smiling scenes added significant depth. Director Heo muses that Gongja's boldness in the face of zombies seems unusual for a baby. He concludes it was almost like intentional acting, leaving Gongja stunned. Director Heo praises Gongja's acting, thinking to himself that the baby would be a genius if it were true. Gongja gives his mom a high five, and Director Heo praises him for a job well done. At home, Gongja holds a flower, ready to execute another plan as his mother calls his name. An assistant calls Gongja's name as a system window reveals his next side effect, 10 hours of sleep. Someone nervously agrees as the scene blurs toward the red seats of the theater. In the audience, a person lets out a heart-wrenching wail, curled up in their seat. Gongja watches the crying person, wondering if his coin-based powers are the cause. He shakes his head, silently telling his mom to stop, and deciding he'll go himself. Taking wobbly but determined steps, Gongja begins his extreme baby steps. Oh! The photographers suddenly turn, their cameras flashing in surprise. The audience gasps as Gongja walks across the stage, thinking how far away the end seems. Ma Sujong watches in shock as Gongja internally asks if she's proud of his training. As his reward for taking 10 steps, Gongja stretches victoriously. The press corps watches intently, certain the baby is about to cry. A group in 3D glasses cheers as the baby gets back up without tears. With a sinister grin, Gongja thinks his plan is working as a baby and the foreground calls for her mama. A host announces that Ma Sujong's son has brought her flowers, moving her to tears. A tiny hand holds up a single pink flower, presenting it with uncertainty. Blushing, Gongja wonders why his mother isn't taking his gift. Ma Sujong looks up, confused and overwhelmed as tears stream down her face. Horrified by her reaction, Gongja drops the flower, realizing this wasn't the plan. At a press conference, the host mentions Gongja as Ma Sujong looks down in distress. Ma Sujong admits with shame that she didn't know Gongja's birthday, then is struck by a new realization. She confesses she was too busy to plan a party while Gongja listens with wide eyes. The host praises Sujong for her busy schedule, and Gongja notes his professional skill at promoting her movie. Ma Sujong hugs her son tightly, sadly admitting she didn't even know he could walk. As she walks away holding him, she laments missing his first steps, but Gongja knows this moment is for her. Gongja uses a coin, wishing for his mother's health as a vision of her happy future appears. The flash of paparazzi cameras fills the darkness. A barrage of headlines detail the tragic future that was, the death of Lata Ma Sujong caused by cyberbullying. At her funeral, a grieving woman carries Ma Sujong's portrait through a crowd of reporters. Back in the present, Gongja thinks, execute as his mother hugs him, the terrible future now averted. He resolves to become an actor, not a singer, as a gentle hand touches his cheek. On stage, the host marvels at Gongja's composure, wondering if he's a natural performer. Ma Sujong proudly remarks that Gongja takes after her, catching the director's attention. A colleague points out the director's passionate gaze fixed on the talented baby. Inspired, the director suggests they might work together on his next project. Gongja sees his mother's smug look and knows she's thinking, not a chance. He confidently thinks to himself that director Hyo will become a hitmaker, ensuring their future collaboration. Ma Sujong pats her sleepy son, who understands his fatigue is the price for changing their fate. A reporter named Jury announces the preview screening for the hit movie The XX of the Dead. The screening is hailed as a spectacular success, with the cast posing for photos. A dark-haired actor is asked about any memorable moments from the film shoot. He recounts a tense moment when Ma Sujong nearly got injured during a wire stunt. Ma Sujong smiles warmly, reassuring the audience that she's perfectly fine now. She explains that she instinctively protected the child and has been cleared by the hospital. Her co-star expresses his relief, admitting he was deeply worried for them both. He adds that he was happy to see the baby was uninjured as Gongja appears on screen, proudly thinking, "That's me." Seeing his on-screen persona, Baikum, Gongja marvels at his own unbearable cuteness. The audience laughs as Gongja's on-screen character tumbles around adorably. Pumped with excitement, Gongja knows this highlight is his chance to gather more coins. The cast thanks the audience, asking them to look forward to the movie's release. Gongja stares at the television in confusion as the cast waves goodbye. He sighs in frustration, accepting that for a nameless actor, screen time is a rare luxury. He collapses onto the couch, lamenting that if he were famous, his mother's emotional scene would have been shown. Shaking off his disappointment, he resolves to seize fame, knowing another chance will come. He thoughtfully considers what an actor needs to secure future roles. A light bulb goes off in his head as he realizes the answer: stamina. He knows he'll need endurance for long shoots, since using coins makes him sleepy. A system window reveals it costs 5,000 coins to raise his stamina, a price he finds surprisingly reasonable. He deduces that because his second wish granted him good health, upgrading his stamina is cheaper. With determined, star-filled eyes, Gongja points forward, thinking, execute. A system window announces the price. For 1 year, he must dance to any music, horrifying the tone-deaf baby. He stumbles and flails, lamenting his fate as a smiling clown for others. Collapsed face down on the floor, he feels relief that the short commercial shoot is finally over. Seeing a boy band on TV, he despairs, wondering why it has to be a music show. He struggles to keep his balance while dancing, complaining that the song is far too long. A woman's hands suddenly lift him, asking why he's bouncing around so much. The woman wonders what he put on, as Gongja mentally begs his savior to break the music's hold on him. She questions how the TV turned on, while a sweating Gongja sits in his high chair beside the remote. Noticing his sweat, the woman considers changing his clothes or giving him a bath, as he shakes his head in protest. From his walker, he babbles desperately, trying to say the one word he needs: water. He reaches out from his high chair, tearfully crying out his desperate need for water. He covers his mouth in shock, realizing he just spoke out loud. The woman rushes to him, stunned, and asks what he just said. He beams with joy, finally able to properly ask for water. The woman joyfully lifts him into the air, amazed by this sudden development. She cuddles him close, marveling at how clearly he can already speak. She wonders if Gongja is a genius, while he suddenly questions his own age. The woman holds him up for a video call, asking him to tell mom to hurry and come. He closes his eyes, thinking she's asking for too much from a baby who just spoke his first sentence. "Mama, squeak," he waves with a dazzling, angelic smile. A bright flash emanates from a phone as a faceless woman takes a picture. The woman suddenly collapses onto the floor in pain. A concerned man with a scratch on his cheek rushes over, asking what's happening. A blinding flash comes from the man's phone, obscuring his face. The man clutches his chest and falls backward onto a couch. The woman rests peacefully beside the unconscious man, like an angel watching over him. The man sits up, asking her if she really intends to hold a first birthday party for Gongja. He's shocked when she says they'll keep it small, questioning why they wouldn't go all out. With a devious smile, the man reminds her that Gongja is their benefactor, who helped an actor recover. He grins slyly, pointing out that Gongja clearly loves being in front of the camera. She suspiciously asks if he's planning to use her son's birthday for business, which he quickly denies. He passionately explains the importance of networking early, promising a grand party. which leaves her silent. While she scrolls through her phone, he thinks to himself how typical this is of Ma Soo-jung. Gongja's grandmother holds him on her lap, sighing in relief that she feels alive again. In a painful memory, the grandmother threatens to kick someone out, and Gongja thinks he'd be fine with that. The grandmother complains about Soo-jung throwing a lavish hotel party for a mutt in a week. Holding Gongja, she vents that Soo-jung invited the whole industry but not family, then notices his eager expression. His eyes gleam with excitement as he realizes his first birthday party is a golden opportunity. He resolves to make a strong impression on the industry bigwigs at the party to launch his career. He squirms with excitement in his grandmother's arms, thinking his stamina training was for this moment. He giggles and wraps his arms lovingly around his grandmother's neck. The grandmother freezes, completely stunned by what she thinks she just heard. He snuggles into her shoulder, calling her grandma and hoping the sweet gesture will cheer her up. She holds him up, asking if he just called her grandmother, and he smiles and repeats it. Her mind races in shock as she demands to know who his grandfather is. Unfazed, Gongja continues to snuggle her happily, exclaiming that he likes his grandma. He beams, trying his best not to laugh at her completely flustered reaction. A week later, the scene opens on a beautifully decorated hotel ballroom, ready for the first birthday celebration. Huff. In a traditional outfit, Gongja worries if this is okay, as narration praises his overwhelming beauty. A system window confirms his adorable appearance brings his manager joy, rewarding him with 20 coins as she gasps in delight. A gray-haired woman fusses over him like a prince, while Gongja resolves to surrender to the incoming coins. Ma Soo-jung arrives with open arms, joyfully calling Gongja handsome and declaring him the main character of the day. Reaching for his mother, Gongja realizes she must have intentionally mismatched their outfits by not wearing a traditional hanbok. A woman rushes out of her room, and Gongja watches her leave, wondering why she's in such a hurry. In Gongja's cradle, someone discovers a shining golden ring inside a luxurious blue box. Ma Soo-jung asks the nanny if someone from Seongbuk-dong gifted the ring, but the nanny denies preparing it herself. The nanny explains she couldn't afford such an expensive gift, as Gongja holds the small, precious ring. Ma Soo-jung wonders who the gift could be from, and the nanny smiles, suggesting there is only one likely person. Holding her son, Ma Soo-jung dismisses the possibility that the expensive gift was meant for her. She sighs, realizing her grandmother beat her to being the first to congratulate Gongja on his birthday. Looking at a cherished photo of them together, she emotionally thanks Gongja for coming into her life. Man and woman arrive, waving eagerly as they call out for Ms. Soo-jung, excited to finally see Gongja. Ma Soo-jung warmly greets President Seo and Ms. Rhea, holding Gongja in her arms. Gongja recognizes the man as President Seo, the CEO of his mother's agency, Top Line. President Seo beams as he leans in, eager to finally meet the famous baby he's heard so much about. Gongja peeks out from the comfort of his mother's arms, looking a bit shy. Thwack! President Seo recoils from a metaphorical slap, as Ms. Rhea tells him he's being too much. Ma Soo-jung turns to greet two little girls in matching yellow dresses. She holds Gongja up so he can wave back, prompting him to say a cute hello. The two girls celebrate excitedly, amazed that the tiny baby can already talk. Overjoyed, the girls rush to embrace Gongja and his mother as a flustered President Seo looks on. President Seo apologizes for his daughter's overwhelming affection as they promise Gongja their love, room, and even chocolate. He thanks Ma Soo-jung for preparing the event, insisting it's the least they can do since she practically built the company. Since she didn't invite her family, Ma Soo-jung asks the president and Ms. Rhea to act as her relatives for the day. President Seo gently pats Gongja's head, amazed that he's even cuter in person, while Gongja internally acknowledges the man's good judgment. Reaching out, Gongja calls the man uncle, and President Seo is delighted that the baby isn't shy with strangers. President Seo of Top Line is delighted by Gongja's cuteness. A system notification confirms, as he blushes with joy. A stunningly talented fashion designer makes her grand entrance, dressed in a red coat and black dress. Ma Soo-jung waves happily, calling out to Ms. Jeong Riri from across the room. Jeong Riri's attention is immediately captured by the baby, her sparkling sunglasses glinting in the light. Ma Soo-jung introduces her son, and Jeong Riri notes that a normal baby would have cried by now. Thinking to himself that he's no normal baby, Gongja strikes a confident, sparkling pose. Jeong Riri stares, intrigued by the baby's bold and unusual gesture. Gently touching his hat, she admits she never had an interest in designing children's clothing before. After observing Gongja, she now understands the appeal and inspiration behind it. Announcing that inspiration has struck, she excuses herself to immediately sketch her new ideas before the party begins. Nice. Gongja clenches his tiny fist in triumph, internally celebrating his victory. Another man praises Gongja, feeling proud to have brought people to see him, as the baby sleeps soundly in his mother's arms. A new guest arrives, a man with light brown, wavy hair, smiling warmly. Ma Soo-jung recognizes him as the winner of the Best Director award at a recent film festival. Goosebumps! Gongja is stunned, realizing it's the famous director Lee Jin-won, who hasn't even officially debuted. Director Lee explains that his new film is about a child, and he came personally after hearing director Hyo's high praise for Gongja. The director smiles kindly, his focus entirely on the baby. Hyo please. Surprised the baby can already talk, director Lee listens as Ma Soo-jung proudly confirms Gongja is an early talker. The director leans in, studying Gongja with an intense, curious gaze. His eyes widen in sudden, utter shock at what he sees. Director Lee Jin-won eagerly asks Ma Soo-jung for one of her business cards, which a nearby man agrees to. With a determined blush, Director Lee holds out his hands in a grand gesture. He presents his card, announcing his wish for Gongja to star in his first film. Zap Gongja is utterly stunned by the shocking offer. While his mother worries he's too young, Director Lee insists it must be Gongja. The director declares he's willing to change the entire script for him. As Director Lee gently touches his hat, Gongja realizes he's being offered the lead in Boyhood. With offers flying around him, Gongja joyfully celebrates his endless casting calls. At a lavish party, an announcer welcomes everyone to Gongja's first birthday celebration. A woman in a bear mask claps excitedly, wondering what Gongja will choose. As the Duljabi fortune-telling ritual is about to begin, Ma Soo-jung's eyes widen with sudden concern. Gongja panics internally, wondering which of the traditional future-predicting items he should grab. While his mother sweetly wonders about his choice, Gongja internally calls out to her in distress. Looking at the options, Gongja decides there is nothing suitable for him to grab. He ponders for a moment, knowing he must choose something. His eyes land on the woman's mask as he realizes there's always a way out. Pointing decisively, Gongja startles his mother by shouting for that one. The confused woman in the bear mask points to herself, asking if he means her. No, he internally clarifies that he's not pointing at a person. Taking off her bear mask, the woman asks if he's talking about it. Squeeze Gongja triumphantly hugs the bear mask. His choice made. Ma Soo-jung watches her son's unusual choice, blushing in stunned silence. The party guests look on with bewildered expressions, shocked by his selection. Ma Soo-jung stares intently, wondering if his choice of a mask signifies a persona. As the audience applauds, Gongja internally declares that this is his destined path. Surrounded by yellow flowers, he beams with joy while hugging his chosen mask. Watching her son sleep, Ma Soo-jung reflects that constant public exposure might be his destiny, not a normal life. The nanny reminds her that, with the paparazzi, Gongja has already been exposed to the public. Ma Soo-jung's expression hardens with resolve as she vows to support Gongja's dream of being an actor. She excitedly tells the nanny about all the business cards and DVD requests Gongja received, admitting she even gave out their address. The nanny marvels that Gongja is a better networker than a CEO, and Ma Soo-jung proudly calls his face a masterpiece. A producer explains to Ma Soo-jung that their new childcare variety show will have a calm, healing atmosphere. Gongja thinks to himself that a variety show is a great way to boost his recognition. The producer admits that filming with babies is risky, as it's hard to get enough good footage without a script. He explains that he personally recommended Gongja to guarantee buzz and pre-show media attention. As he and his mother smile, Gongja celebrates the perfect opportunity to get famous and collect coins. The producer holds Ma Soo-jung's hand, confessing his surprise that she accepted the offer to film at home with such a young child. He then asks her what made her decide to appear on the show. Holding her son, Ma Soo-jung quietly explains she doesn't want her own weakness passed down to him. A flashback reveals a shattered acting trophy as she recalls having a bad agency despite her talent. Her painful memories continue, remembering how all her managers were untrustworthy and constantly replaced. In the present, Gongja looks up at his mother with bright, innocent eyes. Ma Soo-jung beams with love, her decision to support him strengthening. Lying in his crib, Gongja wonders what weakness his mother was talking about. Ma Soo-jung tells Gongja she and his auntie will be very busy today. Gongja raises his hand with a big smile, happily cheering. A group of 5 handsome young men suddenly appear, cheerfully introducing themselves as the idol group Halo. Stumbling in shock, Gongja internally recognizes the famous group. As the members of Halo look down at him, he recalls they are the first K-pop idols to ever win at the awards. Ma Sujong lovingly holds a beaming Gongja, both surrounded by a warm glow. 3 members of the idol group Halo admire Gongja, agreeing he's even cuter in person. Gongja is starstruck, realizing these are the famous idols he's only seen from afar. As the idol group stands together, Gongja internally notes their aura is different from an actor's. The group's leader, a man with dark hair, kindly introduces himself as Hyunjin. Gongja waves happily, saying hello, while thinking about how tall the idol is. 2 of the idols are stunned that such a young baby can already talk. As his mother and the idols praise his cleverness, Gongja internally celebrates their great reactions. Hyunjin asks permission to hold Gongja, which is immediately granted. Hyunjin awkwardly but gently holds the small, sleepy-looking Gongja in his arms. The other members of Halo gather around, cooing in awe at the baby. As Gongja's small hand holds a finger, a narration reveals Halo will become Korea's top K-pop group. The idols are shown in a cute, cartoonish style, all looking utterly shocked. Ma Sujong tells Gongja to have fun with his new friends as she prepares to leave. With teary eyes, Gongja clutches Hyunjin's shirt, not wanting his mother to go. The other members of Halo watch in alarm, wondering if the baby is about to cry. Gongja sadly waves a tiny hand, saying a quiet bye-bye to his mother. The idols fret over Gongja's teary eyes, worrying he'll be sad and forgetting their plans. Whoa! Gongja dramatically flops backward, startling the idol trying to catch him. The members of Halo playfully chase after a crawling Gongja. Lying exhausted on the floor, the idols ask a nearby Gongja if he's having fun. Gongja looks on seriously, admitting that watching the Halo members makes him feel anxious too. An idol offers Gongja a red ball, encouraging him to kick it hard. The idols recall their limited childcare knowledge, from personal experience to binge-watching variety shows. Standing before the ball, Gongja wonders if he can succeed on his first try. Hop! With great effort, Gongja lifts his leg to kick the ball. After falling over, Gongja pauses, wondering if his attempt was kind of cute, he thinks, blushing at his own adorable clumsiness. A brown-haired idol named Jin Young bursts into delighted laughter at the cute sight. Jin Young apologizes for laughing, admitting Gongja was too cute to resist. Gongja looks on with a slightly grumpy expression as he's held. Realizing the cameras are focused on him, Gongja notes Halo's members aren't camera savvy yet. Seizing the opportunity, Gongja flashes a charming smile for the cameras. A system notification confirms that Halo's Kim Jin Young is smiling back at him. Squeeze! Gongja gives Jin Young a comforting hug. Moved to tears, Jin Young thanks Gongja for comforting him as the others watch in amusement. Jin Young wipes his tears and asks Gongja if they should try playing again. The idol holds Gongja's hands to help him balance for the kick. As 2 members admire how tiny he is, Gongja internally deadpans that he is, in fact, a baby. After a kick, Gongja tumbles, and the idol rushes to ask if he's okay. Thwack! Another idol tries to pass the ball back, but accidentally kicks it hard at Jin Young. Crouching to help Gongja, Jin Young is oblivious to the ball flying toward his face. Gongja panics, realizing an idol's face is their fortune and is in danger. Shouting, "Dodge it!" Gongja leaps to protect Jin Young as others scream their names. Gongja shields Jin Young's face with his body, taking the impact from the ball. Crash! The 2 fall to the floor in a heap. The other members rush over in a panic, one apologizing while another scolds the kicker. Lying on the ground, Gongja covers his eyes with a sigh of relief. As the members try to help, one asks why Jin Young fainted when Gongja took the hit. Jin Young suddenly sits up, declaring with ecstatic shock that Gongja protected him. As Hyunjin holds a dazed Gongja, he reminds Jin Young that the baby was the one hit by the ball. As Jin Young sulks after being teased for needing protection, he admits to himself that the feeling isn't so bad. Thwack, thwack. While Gongja punishes the idol who kicked the ball, the guilty party dramatically apologizes and begs for mercy. The repentant idol sits in a strawberry beanbag chair, his ankles bound by a jump rope as punishment. As the other members whisper and stare, the punished idol solemnly thinks the attention is more than a sinner deserves. Ack! The chaotic play continues as one idol grabs another's scarf, yelling for him to get off. An idol lifts Gongja into the air for a pounce, and Gongja internally remarks on the sheer chaos of the situation. The idols collapse into a laughing pile on the floor, wondering if this is how kids play these days. Trapped at the bottom, Jinhyung complains about the weight and demands everyone but Gongja get off him. One idol accuses Jinhyung of trying to monopolize the baby, while Jinhyung simply thinks how cute Gongja is. Peeking over Jinhyung's shoulder, a smiling Gongja makes the idol's heart melt. The other idols watch on, with one exclaiming that Jinhyung, whom he calls Hanga, is cute. The beanie-wearing idol dramatically collapses to the floor, overcome with jealousy. A dark-haired idol sadly asks Gongja to call him cute too, as the baby crawls toward him. Cradling Gongja, a teary-eyed Jinhyung hopes for sweet dreams and asks the baby to appear in them. Looking up at Jinhyung, Gongja affectionately calls him Nini. When Jinhyung asks if he wants to sleep, Gongja internally hesitates before agreeing. Gongja snuggles into Jinhyung's shoulder, calling for his Nini and Hyung's, making the idol think he wants to sleep with them. As Gongja gently pats his back, an idol notes that it feels more like the baby is putting him to sleep. With Gongja asleep on his back, another member watches and wryly comments that the purpose of the show has been distorted, as if Gongja is raising them. Sitting in his high chair, Gongja perks up and eagerly agrees to watch TV. Gongja happily agrees that he likes TV, while internally noting he'd much rather be starring in it. Two idols recall seeing Gongja choose a mask at his doljabi, speculating it shows his promising future, possibly influenced by his mother. The red-haired idol looks at Gongja with a sudden, serious expression, calling his name. He tells Gongja that, just like him, his Hyung has a dream he wants to share. In a brilliant flash of light, the idol group performs on stage, their shared dream revealed, a world tour. With his arms crossed, Gongja confidently thinks that they won't just do it, they'll become global superstars who sell out every show. After one member worries about learning English, another chides him for saying such things in front of a baby. Gongja clenches his fists and gives a powerful cheer of encouragement, shouting, patting. The red-haired idol asks if he means fighting, and Gongja enthusiastically confirms his support. A system notification declares that Halo is delighted by his encouragement, earning him 3,000 love piece coins. Realizing the coin-earning potential of 5 members, Gongja is so overjoyed that a rainbow shoots out of his mouth. In a QA segment, Hyunjin admits he's nervous because it's his first time taking care of a baby. Asked about his preparations, another member proudly states that he learned how to make baby food by calling his mom. 2 members give a thumbs up and a heart sign, thanking Gongja for eating so well as he once again spews a rainbow of delight. Lying in bed, Gongja reflects that it's only been 3 months since his birthday party, and all he's done is one variety show. The nanny informs Ma Soo-jung about the non-stop calls, but she calmly states she's ignoring them on purpose. Ma Soo-jung reveals she's getting casting offers thanks to the variety show, leaving Gongja stunned and confused. The nanny says it seems Ma Soo-jung predicted this outcome, while she privately wonders if her contact info is being sold. Ma Soo-jung declares her intention to be selective with roles, glad for her knowledge of the harsh entertainment industry. Gongja thinks about how thoughtful his mother is, acknowledging her excellent eye for choosing projects. As her phone rings again, Ma Soo-jung contemplates the reality of mixing with all sorts of people. A poster for a medical drama called Emergency Room details its plot about a teacher and student who are doctors. The show's description highlights a tragic scene involving the strict teacher leaving his young son behind. An emotional flashback from the drama shows the doctor tearfully embracing his small son. A man on the phone explains their casting issue. They couldn't find a child actor for the teacher's son after their first choice got measles. He happily tells Ma Soo-jung that Han Woo-jin, the actor playing the teacher, looks a lot like Gongja. Gongja wriggles with delight, excited by the thought that he looks like the famous actor's son. The caller explains why Gongja is perfect. The son is the character's reason for living and must be lovable, which comes from actions. He excitedly praises Gongja's lovability, but Ma Soo-jung calmly tells the overly enthusiastic caller to calm down. After reassuring the caller that she won't push Gongja, Ma Soo-jung hangs up and tells her son she can't go to the filming due to a schedule. Ma Soo-jung gives the nanny a chilling reminder that she's always watching, making her sweat. Another woman recalls Ma Soo-jung's formidable reputation, noting even powerful directors yield to her. Smiling softly, Ma Soo-jung reflects on her easier life now, a stark contrast to her difficult beginnings. Gongja thoughtfully critiques the scene, finding its short screen time underwhelming for its emotional weight. As his mother explains the original child actor got sick, Gongja realizes why the on-screen bond felt weak. Ma Sujong pulls Gongja into a warm, reassuring hug, telling him everything is okay. The nanny checks on Gongja, who insists he's fine despite his fall. As a green sports car arrives, the nanny introduces Gongja's uncle, but Gongja senses she's unwell. A man with dark hair leans out of the sports car, calling Gongja's name with a wide smile. Waving hello, Gongja is surprised to see CEO Seo is his ride to the film set, not the nanny's husband. CEO Seo takes Gongja from the nanny, promising to take good care of him. The nanny waves a shaky goodbye, and Gongja worries about the pain he saw in her expression earlier. Waving back cheerfully, Gongja resolves to earn more coins from the crew to help the nanny. Holding Gongja, CEO Seo cheerfully greets a man he calls PD Lee Jaemin. The PD is shocked to see the CEO on set, who jokes that hard work is all his company has left. CEO Seo playfully lifts a stoic-looking Gongja high into the air. Gongja's expression shifts to pure delight as he waves enthusiastically from above. The PD stares, speechless, as CEO Seo presents the adorable baby to him. While CEO Seo confirms Gongja's presence, the PD remains utterly dumbfounded. The PD immediately recognizes Gongja's potential, noting his bright personality is perfect for the role. Excitement building, the PD shouts for an actor named Woo Jin to come see his new on-screen son. Hearing the name Han Woo Jin, Gongja gasps in starstruck awe, frantically looking for the famous actor. A handsome, dark-haired man is seen in profile against a sparkling floral background. The actor Han Woo Jin turns with a gentle smile, surrounded by an ethereal aura of flowers. The narrator explains that Han Woo Jin's character, Ju Hook, was initially a cold mentor. The story continues, revealing that the character eventually softened, becoming a true mentor by the finale. The drama's plot is revealed to end tragically, with Ju Hook dying from an incurable disease. Back on set, CEO Seo presents Gongja to Han Woo Jin, who asks if this is his child. Han Woo Jin looks at Gongja, remarking on the tragedy of leaving such a child behind. As Han Woo Jin pats his head, Gongja puffs his cheeks in annoyance, internally protesting the treatment. Switching gears instantly, Gongja beams and gives a cute, friendly greeting. Overcome by the sudden charm, Han Woo Jin freezes, completely flustered and shocked. The actor turns to the PD in disbelief, asking if the baby can really move and talk, as Gongja internally scoffs. Blushing, Han Woo Jin gushes over Gongja's cuteness until CEO Seo reveals he's Ma Soo-jung's son. At the mention of Soo-jung, Han Woo Jin's expression darkens, a change CEO Seo immediately notices. Leaning in close, Han Woo Jin gently tells the little one that he's counting on him. Gongja reaches out and holds the actor's finger as Han Woo Jin calls his name. Han Woo Jin asks for confirmation, questioning if the baby's full name is Ma Gongja. PFFT. Hearing the name aloud, Han Woo Jin suddenly bursts into laughter. Unable to contain himself, the actor doubles over, declaring the name Ma Gongja fits perfectly. Gongja glares, internally scolding the famous actor for making fun of a baby. As the PD compliments him, CEO Seo jokingly tells his actor to speak more gently to the child. Gongja overhears the PD suggesting they just start shooting, wondering if he's supposed to act now. Panic sets in as Gongja realizes he has no script, no direction, and no idea what to do. The director casually states they just need Gongja's face as long as he doesn't cry, which Gongja finds insane. Despite the chaos, Gongja steals his resolve, knowing he still has a job to do. Han Woo Jin looks on with a wide, happy laugh, ready for the scene. Gongja knows everything hinges on his chemistry with the lead actor, Han Woo Jin. Determined to create a bond, Gongja reaches out to the actor, silently demanding to be held. As the actor asks if he wants to be held, Gongja internally bemoans having to act, wishing he could be a mindless baby. Gongja recalls that the famous actor Han Woo Jin was known for being easy to work with. As Han Woo Jin playfully swings him around, he internally complains about getting dizzy. Holding Gongja aloft, Han Woo Jin asks if he's having fun as the baby cheers enthusiastically. Balanced, on one hand, Gongja internally fumes that this is too much, as a caption warns against leaving a baby with his dad. With a brilliant smile, Gongja reveals he only pretended to enjoy the roughhousing. Exhausted on a hospital bed, Han Woo Jin is thankful for his stamina as Gongja rests on his chest. KO as Gongja watches the worn-out actor, he admires his handsome and diligent nature, which makes him work harder. The PD watches with concern, telling Woojin he's going to make Gongja cry. To everyone's surprise, Gongja gently puts his fist in Han Woojin's mouth. Han Woojin stares in shock as Gongja continues to offer his hand. Han Woojin happily tells the PD that Gongja likes it, while the PD recalls Gongja's unusual and unflappable nature from variety shows. A hopeful thought emerges. Perhaps Gongja simply likes him. As Han Woojin considers this possibility, Gongja internally judges his delusion as a sickness. Han Woojin asks if Gongja likes it or not, and the baby happily confirms that he does. A thrilled Han Woojin blushes as Gongja calls him Hyung, earning him 700 love piece coins for being called Hyung. The PD marvels at their resemblance, thinking people might actually believe Gongja is his son. In character, Han Woojin laments having to die and leave his son behind, telling the PD the pain is so great he would cross the river of 3 crossings to return. Han Woojin asks the PD if they should change the tragic ending, but Gongja frantically shakes his head no. As Han Woojin presses to change the ending, the PD agrees, but Gongja silently insists they shouldn't. The PD walks away, muttering about the top actor throwing his weight around. The PD decides they can extend the scene with Gongja, delighting a listening Han Woojin. Gongja pumps his fists, thrilled to have secured more screen time for himself. The baby's expression turns serious as he realizes the acting challenge this presents. Gongja contemplates the role, wondering what face to show as the son of a dying father. While being held by Han Woojin, Gongja reasons that empathy comes from familiarity. He decides a natural, everyday demeanor will be most effective, comparing it to greeting his mom after work. Han Woojin smiles serenely, basking in the sunlight. Suddenly, Han Woojin gets a chill as he sees Ma Sujong watching him intently. Gongja grabs Han Woojin's shirt, stopping himself from calling for his mom. In a stroke of genius, Gongja looks up at Han Woojin and calls him Papa, internally apologizing to his mother. A stunned Han Woojin registers what happened as a younger, reddish-brown-haired actor rushes over. The reddish-brown-haired man leans in, asking Gongja to repeat what he just said. As Han Woojin demands an encore of Papa, the group gathers around the baby. The reddish-brown-haired man notes that Gongja truly looks like Han Woojin's son for the role. Contemplating fatherhood, the reddish-brown-haired man admits he'd consider marriage for a son like Gongja. When the man jokes that Gongja seems to be on his second life, the baby is shocked by his sharp perception. Han Woojin pulls Gongja close, possessively declaring, "No, he's my son," which the other man finds childish. As the two actors bicker, the reddish-brown-haired man observes that Han Woojin has a surprisingly human side around the baby. Held by Han Woojin, Gongja decides he doesn't mind the attention. Activating his social skills for the drama, Gongja snuggles in and sweetly tells Han Woojin he likes him. A flustered Han Woojin receives another system notification for 500 coins, pleased by Gongja's cute voice. Overcome with emotion, Han Woojin wishes he could adopt Gongja, but his colleague warns him against saying that in front of Sujong. Han Woojin insists Gongja likes him, while his colleague worries about the potential chaos. The reddish-brown-haired man is startled by CEO Seo, who had been waiting because Woojin would not give Gongja up. Han Woojin announces it's time for them to leave, and Gongja cheerfully agrees. Walking away, Han Woojin fishes for compliments, asking Gongja if he likes his Hyung. Gongja cuddles into the actor's chest, internally admitting how cheesy South Korea's handsome representative is. Snuggling closer, Gongja affectionately says, "I love you," leaving Han Woojin stunned. Han Woojin hugs Gongja tightly, convinced of the baby's affection, while Gongja remains non-committal. Han Woojin worries Gongja will cry when they part, but the baby knows he definitely won't. As Han Woojin holds Gongja, he nervously points out that they're at Ma Sujong's house. The reddish-brown-haired man scolds a pleading Han Woojin about the risk of a scandal. Horrified, Han Woojin realizes asking for custody of Gongja would be a death sentence. The scene shifts back to the film set, where a director in a hoodie begins coordinating the next shot. In a crib on set, Gongja notes that this scene doesn't actually feature Han Woojin. Gongja prepares to act, realizing he must greet the camera as if it were his character's father, Ju Hayok, a busy doctor he rarely sees. Brightly calling out, "Papa!" Gongja delivers his line perfectly, surprised when the director immediately calls, "Cut!" The director with the orange beanie throws his hands up in celebration, declaring that Sujang brought them a genius. Overwhelmed with emotion, the director thanks Gongja, who is completely baffled by the reaction. The director passionately praises Gongja's performance to the crew, highlighting its tender and powerful nature that will surely move viewers to tears. As the crew buzzes with excitement, Gongja quietly wonders if his acting really went that well. The director turns to Han Woojin, asking for his reaction. Now in a hospital gown for his scene, a stunned Han Woojin is asked why he has such a long face. Feigning a laugh, Han Woojin gets into position as Gongja internally squeals with excitement to be in a shot with him. From behind, Han Woojin faces the crib, preparing for the emotional scene. Gongja looks up with wide eyes as Han Woojin's hand gently reaches for him. Han Woojin's expression is filled with heartbreakingly authentic sorrow. Awestruck, Gongja is blown away by the actor's skill, wondering if his good looks caused his talent to be underrated. Gongja thinks that if Han Woojin can act with such depth, his own performance must match it. As if on cue, Gongja's tiny hand clasps the actor's finger. Han Woojin gently lifts Gongja into his arms, pulling him into a hug. Remaining deep in character, a single tear falls from Han Woojin's eye. The actor buries his face in Gongja's shoulder, fully embracing the role's sorrow. Han Woojin holds Gongja tightly, a picture of a father's love and grief. The crew erupts in cheers, throwing papers in the air to celebrate the perfect take. Held in the actor's arms, Gongja contemplates that the first sign has been given. A crew member has to remind a lingering Han Woojin that the director called cut. Still crying, Han Woojin looks down at a shocked and confused Gongja. An angry voice from a nearby house curses Han Woojin's name. Inside, Ma Soo-jung rages about Han Woojin trying to take her son, until a housekeeper reminds her that Gongja is present. Soo-jung's menacing glare terrifies Gongja as she mentally threatens Han Woojin. In another scene, Han Woojin's colleague begs him not to provoke Soo-jung, but Woojin cheekily asks him to be the sacrifice instead. Gongja sighs, concluding that all this drama must be happening because he's just too cute. With a flash of realization, Gongja knows what's coming next. Terrified, Gongja reaches out in protest as his mother appears behind him. Why is the inflation so bad? Time passes, and Gongja is now old enough to skillfully feed himself with a spoon. The proud baby finally breaks the 10-step jinx, walking with confidence. A woman with glasses greets Gongja in the kitchen, who happily runs to her after finishing his meal. The woman praises him for being a good eater, and Gongja babbles back at her happily. In a chibi flashback, Ma Soo-jung furiously shakes a man wearing a surgical mask. Waving with a bright smile, Gongja happily calls out a greeting to his grandma. A stern, gray-haired woman dismisses the previous nanny, who bows respectfully and leaves. Holding Gongja, the gray-haired woman informs him his name came up at a breakfast meeting. As she explains that people questioned how long she'd keep him, Gongja senses her rising anger. His grandmother holds him close for comfort, and Gongja knows he's safe from being sent away for now. Overhearing a cold comment about replacing people, Gongja finally understands the deep rift between his mother and grandmother. Gongja gently pats his grandmother's collar to comfort her, much to her surprise. Pang! A hand slams down on a table. A smiling, dark-haired man casually asks a woman why she's angry about her son's things, and she confirms it's precisely the issue. A brown-haired woman lounges on a couch, wondering what she did to deserve the chaos since the shoot. A dark-haired man notes that producer Lee Jimin is already eager to cast Gongja in his next project. He shows her his phone, where a highlight clip of Gongja's acting is trending, proving he must become an actor. The man argues that Gongja has the talent and desire, but she questions why he isn't accepting the flood of commercial offers. She explains they don't need the money and are donating his appearance fees, wanting to protect him. Looking at her phone, she worries about overwhelming him as he's barely 2 years old. Her phone displays a list of hot news topics, all about Gongja's success, noting his great on-screen chemistry with Han Woojin. She rests her head on her hand, still in disbelief that a producer changed a drama's ending just for Gongja. Leaning against her colleague, she gets emotional thinking about Gongja's on-screen growth and the media frenzy it caused. She decides Gongja needs a nanny more than a manager, especially now that their housekeeper is hospitalized. She turns to the man, asking if he happens to know anyone diligent enough for the job. He smiles with a hint of mischief, saying there is one person who comes to mind, Jing. The woman looks up with sudden, wide-eyed realization. Where? She screams in terror, throwing her phone away from her. The dark-haired man rushes to her side, asking what's wrong as she morbidly asks him to pray for her soul. Jing! Her cracked phone buzzes on the floor, with an incoming call from a stylish blonde woman. A man with brown hair waves enthusiastically, declaring how cute someone is today. Gongja listens as the man, President Seo, complains about his voice being hoarse from fielding calls about him, and Gongja dryly notes his screen time. President Seo gratefully adds that Gongja's fame even helped a rookie get a job, and Gongja acknowledges his professional skill. President Seo then announces their next job, a commercial shoot with a fairy tale concept. Gongja's eyes light up with excitement as he declares his love for fairy tales. His eyes sparkle as he wonders who has come to see him on set. A group of children with glowing red eyes ominously announces their arrival. Gongja looks a little stunned as he's held by the hand, while staff members coo over his cuteness. System notifications award him coins for charming the staff, making him feel proud. He smiles brightly, confident in the power of his adorable face. A man in a polo shirt kneels, admitting he was worried the designer's clothes were old-fashioned, but now thinks they'll suit Gongja. Gongja gives a polite bow, thinking he came prepared, as the man laughs and says he's counting on him. Dressed in a princely outfit, Gongja looks deeply disappointed, questioning if this is really a fairy tale. President Seo nervously asks if he's uncomfortable, but Gongja thinks the president looks even more worried. Gongja recalls his mother only accepted the job because of the famous designer, resolving that his work is his business card. He sits on a grand golden throne, utterly bewildered by the prop. As the camera rolls, the director tells him to look around, and Gongja gets excited for his first real direction. He mentally processes the instructions, deciding to smile as if his mom were bringing him a new toy. He's moved that the director is giving him instructions personally, now that the media knows he can communicate. Following directions, he looks around first with bright excitement, then with focused intrigue. In his mind, he reframes the direction. He'll act with the intensity of seeing a master director and a perfect script. He gives a brilliant, joyful performance, mentally calling for the cut. As the crew snaps photos, he wonders why they're still shooting after the take. The director is overwhelmed with emotion, praising Gongja's star-like sparkle and asking what he was imagining. Gongja calmly thinks his expression was the same one he had when he met a famous director at his first birthday party. Inspired, the director tells the crew to immediately move on to the rabbit concept. Now in a pink bunny costume, Gongja sweetly clutches a stuffed rabbit among flowers. The director and President Seo watch in awe, with the director asking for a moment to just savor the cuteness. On cue, Gongja pops out from behind a bush in his bunny suit, playing peekaboo for the camera. He laughs and throws his arms up, playing joyfully as leaves fall around him. The crew continues filming, so immersed they forget their subject is a child, while someone thinks it's time to stop. A reporter holds a microphone, announcing they're on location for the famous baby's commercial shoot. Gongja. Hello, I'm Gongja. This is my third time appearing on television. It's an honor to meet you all. I am 40 years old, and I have loved farming ever since I was little. I have been farming for 28 years, focusing on rice paddies. I am a professional farmer who grows rice, and my dream is to become the best farmer in Korea. The reporter clutches her chest, charmed by his cuteness, before beginning the interview by asking what he likes the most. He thinks with a bright smile that nothing can compare to this. The flustered reporter asks Gongja about the band Halo, as he internally questions her motive. He enthusiastically confirms he remembers them much, to the reporter's delight. He shakes his head, proudly thinking to himself that he's a genius. When asked to pick his favorite member, he realizes this was the interview's true purpose. After a brief pause, he gives the perfect answer. He likes all of them. She praises his considerate nature, and he smiles, accepting his fate as a charmer. The reporter clutches her face, admitting her cheeks hurt from smiling so much. He sweetly mimics her gesture, making her ask if he's copying her. Snap, someone captures a photo of his impossibly cute, smiling face. A news report shows that the outfits from his commercial shoot have completely sold out. His grandmother, Mrs. Shim, visits and asks about the shoot, as he notes her constant presence. Mrs. Shim feigns embarrassment over his fame, which he sees as unusual stiffness. He smiles knowingly, understanding the true meaning behind her words. Excitedly crawling toward her, he seeks praise, but she tells him not to think she's accepted him. He pauses, a thoughtful expression on his face. Leaping into her arms, he happily declares that he is his mommy's son. Mrs. Shim scoffs that his mother found him on the street, prompting his mental retort. Smiling sweetly, he begins to explain the real reason. A flashback shows an older man with a cane, asking if his mother is present. A woman named Lee Yu-gyung smiles cruelly, asking if that child has been kicked out yet. Mrs. Shim glares as Lee Yu-young taunts her for being more interested in him than her own child. Walking away, Mrs. Shim warns Lee Yu-young to stay quiet and not bother Soo-jung. Lee Yu-young makes a sinister phone call to a reporter, referencing a previous favor. In the present, a terrified President Seo asks an enraged Soo-jung about the paparazzi outside. He warns her about Gangja's safety outside, but she worries he isn't safe at home either. Baffled, President Seo questions how he could be unsafe with their tight security. Soo-jung voices her suspicion that someone bought a reporter, reminding him of his celebrity status. Changing the subject, President Seo happily confirms the person he recommended has accepted the job. Soo-jung cautiously asks what kind of person they are. He gives a confident thumbs up, guaranteeing they are a sincere and trustworthy individual. He continues his praise, but she skeptically notes she'll have to see for herself. Looking hurt, he asks if she distrusts him and urges her to just meet them. Her suspicious glare remains as he sulks, asking for a little more faith. He looks up, his gaze fixed on a smartphone left on the bed. He burns with the desire to see for himself just how famous he has become. Throwing a tantrum, he demands to know the price for getting a smartphone. A system window reveals the shocking cost of 100 coins just to view the price. Despite the expense, he resolutely decides to find out anyway. He stares into the void, utterly dumbfounded by what he has learned. Sweating with worry, he wonders if his mom is changing her schedule because she thinks he's lonely. Just then, his mother bursts in happily, and he thinks this is exactly like her. She gives him a loving kiss, asking if he had a good dream. Announcing a new uncle is visiting, she sits with him as he hopes it isn't President Seo. A staff member peeks in to say the interview is ready, leaving Gangja completely shocked. An intimidating man in a red suit and sunglasses sits waiting on their couch. A closer look reveals his stern expression and a long scar across his cheek. The man coolly announces he's there for the nanny interview, stunning Gangja. As the man subtly flexes, Soo-jung thinks he looks almost a little too reliable for the job. A woman asks Gangja where he's going as he toddles toward a man in a red suit. Ack! Gangja loses his balance and falls backward as a woman cries out his name. The man in the red suit lunges forward to catch him. He catches Gangja, tumbling to the floor in a dramatic save. Lying on the floor, the man asks if Gangja is alright, with no injury from the fall. Held safely, Gangja feels the man's nervous, pulsing muscles and assures him, "I'm okay." The man introduces himself as Kim Deok-soo, finding the child cute. Gangja looks up at the man he calls Uncle Deok-soo and innocently asks if he's cold. Flustered, Mr. Deok-soo quickly denies it. He stares down with a serious, slightly blushing expression. A woman with long brown hair gasps in surprised realization. She shakes Mr. Deok-soo's hand, creating a bond of shared hardship. Mr. Deok-soo grows anxious when asked about the interview. Holding Gangja, the woman thanks Mr. Deok-soo for protecting him. Mr. Deok-soo humbly replies that it was his honor. Gangja looks less than thrilled to hear it was an honor to hold him. The woman asks Mr. Deok-soo how he knows President Seo. He explains they met and formed a connection while he was working at a snack shop. The woman is shocked to hear this, and Gangja seems equally surprised. A flashback reveals Mr. Deok-soo serving food at a busy snack shop. He proudly states that the shop has been in his family for 3 generations. The woman smiles, impressed by the shop's history and tradition. What? Mr. Deok-soo somberly admits no one would hire him, likely because of his intimidating appearance. Despite this, he explains that he never gave up on his dream and saved his money. He passionately reveals his dream to become a kindergarten director. The revelation makes Gangja suddenly remember someone else with a similar aspiration. The woman asks if he's sure about working as an assistant for only one child. Mr. Deok-soo is deeply moved, realizing Gangja is the first child who hasn't cried upon seeing him. The woman and Gangja watch his emotional reaction with surprise. With a warm, knowing smile, the woman addresses Mr. Deok-soo. She happily announces he's hired, leaving Mr. Deok-soo stunned amidst a field of flowers. The woman confesses that she also struggles with children, and that Gangja is her exception too. She clarifies that his duties will include accompanying Gangja to film sets. Mr. Deok-soo confirms he was aware she needed a live-in nanny. When he mentions his home is in Bongstong, the woman reacts with shock. No way, Gangja lets out a horrified scream. Mr. Deok-soo looks back at the child, completely bewildered. Gangja frantically insists he shouldn't move out, warning that Bongstong's housing prices are about to skyrocket. Confused, Mr. Deok-soo assumes they're just discussing the house and considers commuting instead. He yields to what he thinks is the young master's wish, agreeing to commute instead of selling. The woman expresses her concern for his commute, as Gongja internally smirks, knowing Mr. Deoksu will thank him later. She sweetly asks Gongja if he likes his new uncle. Gongja glances over at the man, contemplating his answer. Observing Mr. Deoksu's nervous posture, Gongja sympathizes, thinking the man has finally found the right place after many rejections. Ta-da! With a brilliant smile, Gongja confidently thinks that he's no ordinary kid. Overcome with emotion, the woman begins to cry, feeling a strange sense of familiarity. Panicked by her tears, Gongja wonders why she's crying, feeling he's made things worse. He tugs at his shirt, calling out for Deoksu in desperation. Now on the woman's lap, Gongja demonstrates an action for Mr. Deoksu, telling him, "You do it like this." Sujong emotionally insists that after seeing the young master, Mr. Deoksu must take the job. Mr. Deoksu, the man with the scarred cheek, agrees to start immediately, as he was planning to move anyway. He decides to rent instead of buying a place, a decision that makes Gongja beam with happiness. When his mother asks if he can help today, the man immediately agrees. Gongja stares in awe, imagining the man cooking with the dramatic flair of a synchronized dance troupe. Mr. Deoksu proudly presents a bento box with food shaped like cute animals, announcing the meal is served. Gongja happily takes a big bite of the delicious-looking egg roll. "Whoa!" he cries out as a bolt of lightning flashes in his mind, symbolizing the electrifying taste. In a moment of pure bliss, he strikes a pose, as if in a cooking show, celebrating the amazing flavor. He stares, drooling, at 3 sparkling, perfectly balanced meals, recognizing it as a low-carb, high-fat diet. Chewing happily, he acknowledges that the meal is truly the work of an expert. Wearing a bear-themed apron, Mr. Deoksu is deeply moved by how heartily the young master eats. He announces that a film director is coming, so they need to get ready after eating. Clatter! Gongja drops his fork in utter shock, demanding to know who's coming. He quickly declares he's finished his meal, and eagerly asks to brush his teeth. A man with light brown hair arrives, calling out, "Jackpot!" and complimenting Gongja's unchanged beauty. The man kneels for a hug, asking if Gongja remembers him, and the boy enthusiastically agrees. Gongja mentally cheers that he could never forget director Lee Jin-hwan, while Mr. Deoksu glares jealously in the background. Director Lee explains that his long-prepared debut work was delayed, holding out a black card. Mr. Deoksu accepts the card, philosophically congratulating the director on his debut and noting life is about direction, not speed. The director awkwardly agrees that there's no set order to success, privately wondering what the man is talking about. Holding Gongja, Mr. Deoksu asks the director why he chose his young master over so many other child actors. The director passionately declares that the project is impossible without him. Gongja is horrified to see actor Han Woo-jin in his thoughts, wondering why he's suddenly involved. Director Lee admits he desperately needs investors, and while Han Woo-jin secures them, he'll lose the star without Gongja. Gongja realizes that the investor Lion would only fund the film if their son was cast. He recalls that this is why the film was heavily criticized for the actor's poor performances in the past. Confidently, Gongja thinks to himself that if he were cast, there would be no such issue. Mr. Deoksu turns to Gongja and asks for his opinion on the matter. Director Lee grabs Gongja's hands, pleadingly entrusting the entire project to him, as Gongja internally scoffs at the reliance on a toddler. Gongja muses that, though the director's debut failed due to casting, the script was praised, and he could have saved it. The director states he's already arranged for mental care, impressing Gongja with his thorough preparation. Mr. Deoksu explains these measures are necessary because many children have suffered trauma from harsh filming in the past. Gasp! Grabbing his nanny's shirt, Gongja eagerly shouts, "I'll do it!" Smiling brightly amidst a field of sunflowers, Gongja happily announces his decision. The director and Mr. Deoksu are left completely stunned by his sudden declaration. Their shared look of shock continues as they process the 2-year-old's decision. Mr. Deoksu dramatically looks to the heavens, demanding to know if nap times are guaranteed. The director hastily agrees. Now dressed in a suit, Mr. Deoksu carries a well-dressed Gongja to their next destination. Arriving on set, the crew announces that the child actor is here. Director Lee welcomes Gongja as a savior from heaven, a sentiment Gongja finds rather intense. A crew member thanks Gongja, explaining his participation secured actor Han Woo-jin, elevating the whole project. The director pats Gongja's back, telling the young master he's counting on him. Gongja learns he will be acting alongside his grandmother, realizing he has a scene partner. The director gives a reassuring wink, explaining that Grandma is only pretending to be scary, which Gongja deems a good explanation. Gongja wonders who will play the part, expecting a notable actress now that he and Han Woojin are on board. He turns as a woman with styled, light-colored hair approaches him from behind. The woman, dressed in a business suit, asks if he is the child protagonist. A close-up of Gongja's eye reveals his shocked recognition of the actress. A veteran actress with long gray hair looks on with a thoughtful expression. On a film set, she invites a young actor named Hanjo to the buffet, but he politely declines. Hanjo smiles to himself, thinking he's just an extra without a meal ticket. The actress turns back, reminding him that he also acted in the film. She states that roles don't divide people. Every actor in a production is equal. Her kind smile is remembered with a warm, floral glow. Gongja stares up at her, his eyes wide with admiration. A caption identifies her as a veteran actor with decades of steady work. He reflects that she truly looked after him and was the first person he'd ever been so close to. The actress comments on his fame, marveling that anything he wears sells out instantly. Popping up behind her, director Lee excitedly adds that Gongja's influence is so insane it changed a drama's ending. The actress asks if he was in it. Gongja recalls how she was always fair about acting, treating everyone the same. In a flashback, she asks the director if he cast Gongja just for his face, and he admits investors tied his hands. She had added that while she doesn't usually work well with child actors, she would guide him properly. The actress complains about her headaches and lack of sleep, making Gongja wonder if she had insomnia in the past. He asks the system the cost of curing Ms. Yoon Jung-yeon's insomnia. It requires 77,777 coins for a month of lavender scent. Gongja closes his eyes, contemplating the lavender solution. He thinks of her as a mentor. Ding! A system window confirms his request has been executed. Ms. Yoon embraces Gongja, who snuggles into her hug, thinking she reminds him of his grandma. A crew member announces it's time for the child actor to get ready. Ms. Yoon gently sets him down, telling him it's time to go. As a crewman leads Gongja away, Ms. Yoon says she feels she'll finally sleep well tonight. She lets out a big yawn, which Gongja finds strange as he's led away. The director, holding Gongja, happily tells someone that she was always too tense on set to even close her eyes before. He instructs a seated Gongja to give just a little smile, which the boy silently processes. The director demonstrates a gentle, subtle smile. Gongja perfectly mimics the director's expression. Thrilled with the result, the director praises him as a smart kid. The film's fantasy premise is explained. The main character sees the red threads of fate on people's wrists. Gongja muses that director Lee is about to make cinema history and wonders if this film's success will change the future. A film camera points toward the sky as the director gets ready to shoot. Whoosh! A large fan begins to spin. A gentle breeze blows through Gongja's hair as he sits for the scene. He gazes thoughtfully over a stone wall into the distance. He closes his eyes, surprised the take is already over. The director stares in shock, wondering how his instructions worked so well. Gongja smugly thinks to himself that it wasn't the directing, he just acted well. The director admits he almost gave up on getting such emotional depth from a child. He enthusiastically suggests another take, and Gongja happily agrees to do it again. The director reviews the script with Ms. Yoon, confirming their scene is next. Ms. Yoon realizes that with her newfound fame, she can truly bring the scene to life. He feels he can now immerse himself even more in his acting. The director explains the upcoming scene where Grandma will scold him, and Gongja recognizes it. He kneels down to reassure Gongja that it's just acting, and the boy agrees. Ms. Yoon skeptically asks if the kid really understands, but the director insists Gongja is smart enough. She turns away, amused that the director still doesn't seem to fully trust her acting ability. The director lifts Gongja, telling him it's okay to cry when she gets scary, surprising the boy. Ms. Yoon gives a menacing glare, adding that if he doesn't cry, she'll just act even scarier. Gongja realizes the previous child actor must have been terrible, and that the scene is different from how he remembers it. The director asks Miss Yoon Jung-yeon if they are ready to start filming, and she nervously agrees. As dusk settles, Ms. Yoon thinks about how drowsy she feels, while Gongja internally apologizes for being the cause. The scene begins with a sharp grab as Ms. Yoon, in character, furiously tells Gongja not to say a word. Leaning in, she yells at the startled Gongja to shut his mouth. Her eyes flash with a genuinely menacing glare. Gongja is truly frightened by her intense performance, thinking this is seriously terrifying. The page you are trying to access has been identified as a suspected phishing scam. Do not enter your username or password on this page. If you have already entered your credentials, change your password immediately. Ms. Yoon repeats her line with fury, demanding he shut his mouth. Her intense, scary gaze continues to bear down on him. Gongja's eyes widen in genuine fear from her acting. A thought bubble confirms his terror. Wait, this is seriously scary? She looms over him, her expression hardening as she remains silent. Overwhelmed by her performance, Gongja's eyes well up and he begins to cry. He sits on the bed, sobbing, as she watches him with a somber look. As Gongja cries his heart out, the director calls, "Cut!" Wah! The moment the scene ends, Ms. Yoon immediately pulls Gongja into a comforting hug. He buries his face in her shoulder, still sniffling. The director rushes over with a cameraman, anxiously asking if Gongja is okay. Out of character, Ms. Yoon gently asks Gongja if she hurt him while grabbing him. He quietly nods to say he's fine, and she expresses her relief. She gently cups his cheek, admitting the scene made her arm sore, but it was worth it. He thinks she's still so delicate. The director praises Gongja, admitting he didn't expect him to cry so hard, but it made the scene much more immersive. Ms. Yoon smiles warmly, agreeing that Gongja did great and inspired her to get serious. She looks down at him with a soft, proud smile, telling him he was really good. Basking in the praise, Gongja looks up with a sweet, happy expression as his cheek is gently held. At the beach for another shoot, a man tells Gongja not to go too far, and the boy happily agrees. As his feet touch the water, Gongja laments that this is his last shoot and wishes his role was more significant. Standing in a nearby town, he wonders why time is moving so slowly and wishes he could grow up faster to lead his own project. Hearing a commotion, Gongja looks over his shoulder with a curious expression. He's shocked to recognize a man named Han Woojin in the crowd and wonders why he's there. Han Woojin looks off to the side with a serious, handsome profile. He turns, his gaze landing directly on Gongja standing by the sea. His face lights up with a brilliant smile as he calls out Gongja's name. Woojin asks if Gongja remembers him, and Gongja thinks that it's impossible to forget someone who shines so brightly. Crouching down, Woojin remarks on how much Gongja has grown, having hoped to see him on set. Gongja internally scoffs, thinking it makes no sense for a lead actor and his child version to film together. Woojin asks if Gongja missed him, and after a moment of hesitation, the boy agrees, while biting his lip. Woojin pulls him into a tight hug, saying he missed him too, and that a woman named Sujong grabbed him by the hair for saying so. Gongja suspects Woojin must have said something much worse to provoke that reaction. A flashback reveals a woman grabbing Woojin's hair as he creepily offers to take Gongja off her hands. Back in the present, Woojin playfully tosses Gongja into the air. Ms. Yoon appears, chiding Woojin for playing too rough with the child. Woojin hugs Gongja again, confessing he took the role just to see him on set. A background of question marks appears as Ms. Yoon asks in disbelief if he took the role for Gongja, not the pay. He happily confirms he asked for only gas and meal money, prompting her to question if he isn't busy. Holding Gongja up, Woojin proudly claims that people already say they look alike. Smack. Ms. Yoon hits Woojin on the head, telling him not to get arrogant. Gongja thinks he deserved that. She admits the script was good, and he enthusiastically agrees. The two actors share a bright, genuine laugh. Gongja looks on, watching them with a quiet, observant gaze. His eye reflects a moment of deep, gentle thought. In a black van, a voice suggests taking a nap during the break. Mr. Deoksu's hand gently rests on Gongja, who is tucked in for his nap. Mr. Deoksu offers to read Bear and Me, but Gongja feels far too excited to fall asleep now. A sudden knock startles Mr. Deoksu, who looks up in confusion. Getting out of the van, he awkwardly greets Ms. Yoon, who has just arrived. Ms. Yoon apologizes for the intrusion and makes a request, causing Gongja to recognize her by name in his thoughts. She explains that she has insomnia, but feels sleepy when she smells the scent coming from him. Mr. Deoksu agrees to her request to come inside, and she asks to sit in the front with Gongja. Nod! Now beside him, Ms. Yoon gently asks Gongja if it's okay to sleep next to Grandma. Blushing, Gongja snuggles into her embrace. He closes his eyes, looking peaceful and content in her arms. As he drifts off, Gongja finds himself thinking about his past life. He wonders why she took care of him back when he was just an unknown actor named Lee Hanjo. Ms. Yoon and Gongja sleep peacefully together in the van. In his dreams, Gongja silently asks her if she felt sad about his death. The scene shifts to a blonde woman in lingerie, putting a finger to her lips with a sly smile.